All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're not just crunching numbers. We're going to put on our detective hats. Because you know what? Figuring out what a company is really worth isn't just a math problem, it's an investigation. It's a hunt for the truth that's almost always hiding just below the surface.
So let me throw a scenario at you. You find a company, and you look at their books. Profits are through the roof. I mean, it looks like an absolute slam dunk. So the question is, would you buy it? On the surface, it seems like a no-brainer, an easy yes. But as we're about to find out, this is usually the first trap that people fall into. The real story, it's never quite that simple.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the standard blueprint for figuring out value, then we'll get our hands dirty with some real detective work. We'll uncover some hidden dangers, look at a really cool twist where value itself can change, and then at the end, we'll pull it all together to crack the case and find that true price. Every good investigation needs a plan, right? A blueprint. And in the world of finance, that blueprint is usually something called the discounted cash flow model, or just DCF. Think of it as our theoretical map that points us where we need to start looking for value. So, what's the big idea here? It's that a company isn't just worth what it did last year, it's worth what it's gonna earn in all the years to come. The DCF model takes all that future potential cash and basically translates it into a single number that tells you what it's all worth today.
The process itself looks pretty straightforward. You guess future earnings, you figure out how much of that is actual cash you can spend, that's called free cash flow, and then you do some math to find its value in today's dollars. On paper, it's a nice, clean formula. But, and this is a huge but, the entire blueprint is built on assumptions. Its accuracy depends completely on the numbers you feed into it. Garbage in, garbage out.
And that right there brings us to the real heart of our investigation, financial due diligence, or FDD. This is where we stop guessing. We move from the theory and the blueprint to the real world to see if the foundation is actually solid or if it's built on sand.
Exactly. So while the DCF model gives us the formula, FDD is the fact-checking. It's the gritty, on-the-ground investigation to find the real numbers to plug into that formula. Without it, your valuation is really just a shot in the dark.
So, every good detective has a toolkit, right? Ours has three main tools. First up is quality of earnings analysis. This asks, hey, are those soaring profits we saw earlier for real, or was that a one-time thing that's never going to happen again? Second, we look at net working capital to see how much cash is constantly tied up just to keep the lights on. And finally, and this is a big one, we dig into net debt to find out what the company actually owes, not just what it says on the official reports. Each one of these clues can dramatically change the final price. All right, now we get to the really dramatic part of the investigation. We're on the hunt for the financial version of a hidden trapdoor. These are liabilities that don't show up on any normal report, but they can absolutely kill a deal.
And this quote just says it all. You know, it's not the debt you can see that's the scariest. It's the debt you can't. They're often called debt-like items, and finding them is what separates a great deal from an absolute catastrophe.
So what do these traps look like in the wild? Well, imagine finding out a multi-million-dollar royalty payment was only waived with a handshake deal. And guess what? The new owner is on the hook for it. Or what about discovering the company's amazing low-interest loan is actually guaranteed by its parent company, and that guarantee vanishes the second the deal closes, causing interest rates to skyrocket. These are real things, lawsuits, hidden purchase agreements, surprise tax bills that are basically debt in disguise, and it's our job as detectives to sniff them out. Now for a really fascinating twist in our investigation. We've been on this quest for a single true price, right? But what if that price actually changes depending on who's doing the buying? This is a huge idea. Value is not always some objective, fixed number. It's really as simple as this. A buyer's strategy can totally change an asset's value. What might be absolutely critical for one company's operations could be completely useless to another, and that difference fundamentally changes what it's worth. Let me give you a super clear example. Let's say a company has two parts, Division A and Division B. If Buyer 1 plans to keep both and run them, then Division B is an operating asset. Its value is tied to all the future cash it's going to generate. But what if Buyer 2 comes along and plans to sell off Division B the day after buying the company? All of a sudden, it's a non-operating asset. Its value isn't about the future anymore. It's about how much cash you can get for it right now. It's the same exact division, but it has two totally different values.
Okay, team, we have gathered all our clues. We understand the blueprint, and we've even accounted for the buyer's motive. It is time to bring this all home, to solve the mystery and to calculate that final, defensible number. Hey, remember that company from the very beginning? The one with the amazing profits? Well, this is a real case study. The company reported a really healthy $10 million profit. But when the financial detectives dug into the actual cash flow, the company was losing $5 million. So what happened? Where did all that money go?
And here's our culprit. The investigation revealed that the company was just making tons and tons of inventory that nobody wanted to buy. And to pay for all this, it was taking on more and more debt. So yeah, the profit looked great on paper, but in reality, the company was just bleeding cash to fill a warehouse with stuff it couldn't sell. A total classic FTD discovery.
So, this is how we put it all together. We start with that initial value from our DCF blueprint. Our investigation found that real earnings are actually lower than what was reported, so the value goes down. Then we subtract the net debt, but we also have to subtract that hidden debt-like item we found, like those unpaid royalties, which pushes the value down even more. But then we add back the value of any assets the buyer is just going to sell off. And after all those adjustments, we finally land on the equity value. That is the true price. So what are the big lessons from our investigation today? Well, first, valuation isn't just one thing. It's a formula, the DCF, that has to be proven by real investigation, the FTD. Second, and this is so important, remember that a company's biggest risks are almost always hiding where you can't easily see them. And finally, value isn't some fixed number written in stone. It's dynamic, and it can change completely depending on what the buyer plans to do.
And that leaves me with one final thought for you. The next time you see a headline about some massive billion-dollar company getting bought, you're not just going to see the price tag. You'll see the investigation behind it. You'll wonder, what were the blueprints? What hidden clues did they find? And what kind of detective work did it take to uncover the real story? Thanks for joining me.